Hey, WokeNFree Nation. Newsly is an audio app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice.
For the first time in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable. Browse articles from topics you choose and start playing. Stop scrolling, start listening.
You can follow any topic as specific as you like, from sports, science, to Bitcoin, or even one of your favorite celebrities. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud.
And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, WokeNFree, is there too.
Now let's get into the episode. Hi, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 264th episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week we're going to have a little conversation around the Little Mermaid. Very interesting stuff. Before we dive deep, a couple of questions to ask you. First, have you gone to WokeNFree.com not only to listen to this episode, but to download it through the Podbean app? If not, please do so immediately. If you have the app, download the episode. That's how you can put in your comments and share with us your thoughts about The Little Mermaid. Now, if you listen to podcasts on a device where you cannot put more apps on it for whatever the reason, then please go to WokeNFree.com, go on the Listen tab, and then pick your platform of choice where you want to follow and subscribe to the show at. So we're on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora. It's a WokeNFree world. We're everywhere, so have fun. Also on WokeNFree.com, you can click to subscribe to follow the show at the top of the site. And on social, you can easily holler at us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and all at WokeNFree. So with that, lastly, it's not really a question, more so a statement. If you have 90 seconds, which you do, we'd love reviews. So if you go to WokeNFree.com, go on the Listen tab, then you can pick your platform of choice where you want to review the show at. Tell us how you're feeling, what the show is doing to you, how it's feeding your life, ... Chucking it to you.
That's good. And before we start this big conversation, we're going to share a little bit about ourselves. This week we're asking, would you rather date a movie star or rock star?
Sometimes I think you forget who we are.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see if you messed up.
We'd rather date?
Yes.
So,
let's see.
I'm married.
Oh, you are? Okay.
And recovering from COVID.
Married. Wow. All right. That's good information there.
Yes, exactly. So I'm married, so I'm not dating a movie star or a rock star, but if I had to choose someone to date, I guess I would go with movie stars because film is always something that just gets my goat. How about you?
So remember, these questions are hypotheticals because I didn't think you were going to be stranded on a desert island as well, right?
Dessert?
Yeah.
Desert.
No, but it's hypothetical, right? You're not really surrounded by cupcakes and lollipops. It's just it's a question. So it's just like
yourself.
This is a hypothetical, but I could catch you again, even if this wasn't a hypothetical.
Okay.
Guess what? The one I would choose is my wife, who's a movie star. Because she can become a movie star, and since she is a movie star, we would practice by me dating you. So that would help get your skills up.
Is that the way we're going to go with this?
So that's what I love about this kind of question, because even if you're married, you can still do this and it won't break any rules or anything. It shows that you're truly in love with who you are with.
Oh God, I'm dying.
So that's what's good about this. So we both choose the movie star at the end of the day, though. That's what's cool, because we know the rock star, it's going to be messed up what I'm going to say. You're going to be real mad at me. It's because of drugs.
That's absolutely not the reason why I did not choose it.
That's what the problem with most rock stars are, drugs, and they keep a lot of like floozies around them.
Okay, you're just making a lot of wildly overarching.
But movie stars, they're prim and proper, and they always keep their everything buttoned up nice and tight.
Okay, go into your sloppy transition.
Movie stars.
I think that's what you need to do.
Because, I mean, we're talking about movie stars, so in our question. So maybe we should have a conversation about a movie at hand. So a big movie that's coming up.
Nice.
I think it's this year or next year.
This year.
Okay, so that's what's...
Or no, next year. Yeah, you're right.
Maybe next year.
2023, yeah.
And that movie starring a certain somebody, isn't they? Somebody in The Little Mermaid. Yeah. Can you tell us, the WokeNFree... Not the fleas, but the WokeNFrees.
Yeah, the WokeNFree Nation.
Yeah, you can tell them what's going on with The Little Mermaid, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. So a trailer came out recently for the live action adaptation of The Little Mermaid, the Disney classic The Little Mermaid that came out when we were kids. And it seems to have really outraged a lot of people. Unfortunately, racism is alive and well. And for some folks, the idea of a black Ariel, a black Little Mermaid, is just beyond more than what folks can handle. And so it's kind of confusing and challenging to be in a time in our life where I would have thought something like this would be, fully just embraced and celebrated, and it seems to have garnered quite a lot of upset and disarray from folks. What are your thoughts?
Okay. When the first thing I heard is I didn't actually even hear about this anger that was put towards the movie. I actually heard about the reaction of little black girls that were excited to see the trailer. That's the first thing I ever saw about it.
That's beautiful. Okay.
That was my first, because I don't see all the stuff that's going on social media, because I know that's where this outrage has happened, because people like to blow their top on social media, because that's where they can show their true emotions and not be punished easily. But I like that I at least saw the positive part, that
that's awesome.
These girls were excited about The Little Mermaid. So that's what I thought that was the big thing. I thought, wow, everybody was going crazy because the black girls are loving seeing that this Little Mermaid's black.
That's what you saw.
Instead, I found out recently that it's more of the outrage of people against black content.
1.5 million and counting, I think, dislikes for the trailer has come out for it, and people are outraged. Why do you think folks are so angered around the idea of a black mermaid?
I think it's a U.S. thing, really, that's really big, where people get very obsessed with fake characters having to be portrayed by the same skin tone no matter what day and age we're in. So if you start off with a character who has a lack of melanin, they want that to be forever held, and that holds as a very true to them, like it's a Bible or something, meaning that this fake character has to be the same. They can't change them in any way, especially their skin color, or else that's trying to do an erasure of the original character. I think that's what some people are going through. And then people are all upset about this thing I think they call white erasure, where the white male is being demonized and kind of shoved to the background. So there's a lot of people now that go around saying, hey, what do you got? What are you trying to do? You're just trying to, change the character just because you want to demonize white people, even though we didn't do anything wrong. So some people see it as that too, an erasure of their person.
It's a
fictional character.
Mythical creature.
Yeah, they say, hey, if you change imaginary characters that were white to colored people, you're part of the woke movement. That's your political movement. That's the whole thing. Look how you're so woke.
It's deeper, and that and what's even astonishing is that adults are getting outraged around a children's.
It's only adults. It's no children. No children cares. No child cares. What?
I'm sure there are children who may care, but only because they're adult.
The adults said, "Look what they're doing. They're erasing you. You used to be in this movie."
But
it's that's not you. You're not a mermaid.
That the change is hard for people, and I guess if you've imagined or seen a mystical or mythical creature and only envisioned it as Caucasian, then anything not Caucasian is really challenging.
But it's not even. But you're saying the mythical. I think you're thinking bigger. I'm thinking just strictly to the Disney movie, The Little Mermaid.
They saw her Ariel was white.
Yeah, and so Little Mermaid. Yeah, it's kind of like if Little Mermaid first debuted and it was a black mermaid. And then now we come this far along and then they make it a white mermaid. Similarly, there would be some people would be upset too. Be like, how come they took this black character and made it a white character?
I've seen that on social media now as well. People are now going the inverse where they're like, so do people want like the Prince and the Frog? What if they took
what if they do that and change that?
Made her white? And it's like, it's the fact
people are going to get mad.
Going this way is it's just disheartening. It's really challenging, and it's like,
and you know what, I asked the question? I mean, I guess there were some people mad, but where's all those people? Do they dislike Hamilton since they show the presidents as colored people too? So
people of color, yes.
You want to say it like that? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
But that's what we got to just wonder is that or were they outraged about Hamilton? Hamilton seemed to do really well, so I don't know, guys. I think those were actually real characters, right? They were based on real
presidents, weren't they? Not characters.
Yeah, they weren't even mythical beasts.
Like people.
They weren't even mythical beasts or anything. So that's what's so funny to be so upset about it. But it's like I said, people don't like when you take old white characters and change them into people of color. Yeah. They definitely don't like that. With so many folks mad at the trailer, what do you think the response will be when the actual movie comes out, though?
I sadly think it's going to be probably similar to the response to the trailer, if not worse, because now then it's going to be the full movie out in its glory, and, you know, not for nothing, but I can't speak as of right now on what the performance will be, as much as I think, I'm happy to see Haley, I believe is, the actress, I forget Haley, what's her name?
Isn't it Holly?
Or Halle Bailey, that's what it is. Halle Bailey? Is that how you say it? Yeah. I'm excited for her, but the work I've seen of her to date has not necessarily truly.
But she's not like an actress by trade, right? She's actually a singer.
She has a beautiful voice.
Yeah, she can sing.
But so I'm not sure what, like, because then it's not only going to be the film, but it's going to be the musicality and all of it together, and I don't know how it could either come out and be a phenomenal film, or it can also be not, or it could be somewhere in between. Yeah, and so it's gonna be more to critique, more to challenge, more to outrage, I think.
Yeah, so I thought about it, and at first I was thinking when this film comes out, it's gonna be similar to what happened to Disney's previous film, Lightyear. Where, you know, people, they were upset at the trailer because they were upset of I think there was like a lesbian scene in the movie.
LGBTQ moment.
Oh, yeah, okay. and people got so upset about it, and they actually didn't go and see the film either, just from one scene, basically. Oh, wow. So but I mean, the thing with Lightyear was, I think the film in general was very different than the franchise it was based on. So the Little Mermaid, I think this is just a live action where they switched out some of the characters. It's not...
They've made it more diverse.
Yeah, so it's not so different compared to Lightyear. So I actually think what's going to happen, since there's like this outrage, is that even more people are going to go and see the movie now. So I think the movie's still going to do well. It's going to do pretty well at the box office. It might not be like a slam dunk. Okay. But I think it's going to do better than Lightyear, to be honest. Because I think there's going to be more people that say, hey, I want to prove that we're okay with seeing a mermaid as a different race.
Well, hopefully
it doesn't really matter.
It. Absolutely.
So I thought about it, and I think people will actually go and see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, ultimately, what do you think is the significance of having a black mermaid as the Little Mermaid?
I think it's important because at least when we were growing up, and I guess we can go from 90s and previously, we rarely see. Like, as children, we didn't see these mythological fantasy tales told with a black person as a main character. Yeah. Like, maybe we'd be in the background just as a human, like, dusting off the chair or something. But now, we're actually right in the front, making the story happen. So that's, I think, a very significant thing, because I know a lot of kids probably couldn't understand seeing themselves in that kind of role. They couldn't imagine that. I mean, me as a child, I never thought that. I was like, all right, whoever's on there, I don't care. I see myself in the role no matter what. But it's still important just to see yourself there in these kind of fantasy tales. And then the second thing is, I think it's going to show everyone that the color and the race, it doesn't matter, right? They're still, technically they're humans just acting as this fantasy person. So these stories can reimagine without any problems. It's not going to destroy the Little Mermaid. Like all is lost now because the color has changed of this Ariel. Like it's not that serious. So this is going to show that because people, it doesn't make sense. Who cares, right? You guys are so obsessed with race. That's why you throwing fits. And I think the third thing is that it shows adding a person of color. It doesn't mean the story is just for one audience. It means it's still for everybody. That's what it's going to show.
Absolutely.
So that's why this kind of movie it's important to do this just so people really don't get so attached and one-sided and just think a story can only be told this way by this person and must look this way. Yeah. That's not how it is. That's not how life is. Like we come in all different shades and hues and stuff, and people get too caught up on race is the problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Way too caught up.
Well, similar to when, do you remember that live action Cinderella that came out when Brandy did it?
Oh yeah, that was
Whitney Houston was the fairy godmother. That's what, and I thought that was so, like, I couldn't even imagine, like, a black Cinderella. And so, for little black and brown girls need to feel seen, and they need to know that they too are princesses, just like anyone else can be. And I love your comment around the story is for everyone. And that's the importance and the significance of changing things up, like casting a person of color in a traditionally not portrayed person, typically in the past, who hasn't been that way, because you have to let people see themselves as princess and princesses. And this is one way of doing that, because if you only cast and only show one community over and over and over again, everyone else feels ignored and feels like they can't be that. And that's just not justice to the story. It's not justice to the fact that we need to support children and make them envision new things for themselves. And and
they'll show, the problem is it's not even, so even if it was just one community shown, okay, that'd be one thing. But what happens is the other communities will be shown, but it's in like a lesser role every single time.
Exactly.
And then that's like, oh, so I can only be the
subjugation
janitor. Like that doesn't make sense.
Of others, and that's not. Okay.
Then like we're human.
If we're even seen, right? Like so, kind
but
of like.
You know what? I rather not have us in those little roles and just put us in the major role. Like don't just always put us in this shoehorn role that makes no sense.
Historically,
support
we had
character or comic relief.
Be able to have a role, we had to start that way.
Yeah, I hate that.
Now we're further along in the journey of history of man as well as acting, and so there's no need for that. Yeah, like we can play the minor roles, but we can also play the major roles, and we can also reimagine fake storylines, right? Like there is no Little Mermaid. Mermaids don't exist.
Well, not everybody believes that. Okay, you could say that. Not everybody is sure of that, right? So that's not.
But okay, if that is
even
not
if there were,
true
though,
for
they
you,
would have different tones.
Exactly, that's my point. That they wouldn't just look one way. That they would come in different hues, and they did come in different shapes and sizes. And
you said sizes though.
I know that blows people's minds as well. But would everyone be
the plus Ariel?
Exactly, like there would be plus size mermaids. There would be differently shaped mermaids. It's differently abled mermaids. I mean, we have to imagine that anything can be possible. And so this is one notch on the belt for us being able to imagine life and creativity a little bit different. And for those who are upset, please give it a chance, because to your point, these little black and brown girls who are so excited and so enamored and saying, wow, look, mommy, it's me, is so incredibly moving. And I would have given anything if I was a 6 years old girl and could have seen myself as Little Mermaid, as Ariel. So I'm excited, and I'm disheartened at the negative response, but I'm hoping that people can listen to things like this and try to see past whatever their current state is in their mind, and
their obsession with race.
Yeah, and try to see the fact that this is a brilliant and a wonderful opportunity. And thank you, Disney, for producing this and helping young girls of different backgrounds feel just a little bit more important, just a little bit more seen in this world.
And I'm not going to say a name, but I know an actress who would be in agreement with the people that are in outrage.
No, we don't need to go down that route at all.
I know that
Absolutely
somebody is,
not.
and that person is messed up.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. I'm not gonna. I won't call anybody out.
No need to do that.
Because anyway, that's just me postulating. They could be on the right side.
So you don't know. So
I don't know for sure, but I'm just making an assumption of what it could
no
be.
Need
and
to...
I have outrage over that.
Yep. Okay.
Over people having outrage.
Alrighty.
Okay then. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Tajahi wanted to recast the entire movie of Gone with the Wind with people of color. Do you think there would be outrage on social media if she goes forward with this?
Oh, wow. That's a really interesting proposition. Oof. I mean, the premise of Gone with the Wind is about slavery and about the North versus the South, and then the fact that there are slaves in the film is a reenactment of that time in history, and so I would be very curious to see what that would look like, because...
Aren't there only like 2, though, in the film? That's what's funny.
No, there's more than 2 black people in the film, but...
okay.
But the premise of the story would have to change to a support that... I mean, you can always recast anything,
and you can keep the dialogue exactly the same,
You could. I mean, it doesn't make a
people
bit of
will watch
sense, but...
it doesn't, wow. It's a fake story, though. It's not real.
Yes, but it's based off a book, and
the book is a fictional book.
Correct, but it's like I said, it's a timepiece. It's fictional, but it's a timepiece, so it would change the correlation of the film. But yes, can you do it? Would people be pissed? Possibly. I mean, I think people could be pissed about anything. So,
but we'll get 1.5 million dislikes, that kind of thing.
Ooh,
or would it only get 5,000 dislikes?
Yeah, I don't know if it would garner that type of anger.
Probably not, because people don't have.
No, I don't know people that are attached to Gone with.
Well, not at this point.
But maybe maybe when it came out, like when the movie came out, and then the next year, if someone wanted to recast the film,
they would have came for the person.
Then that probably would have been too much to bear.
Yeah, I think now it's such an old film, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's tied so strongly to people of this day and age. I guess there's some people that would be really upset, but
yeah,
I don't think it would garner this type of attention, though.
Not like the level of the Little Mermaid.
Yeah, Disney's going to garner a lot of attention. Mm-hmm. Stuff happens around their films, so that makes sense. But actually, I mean, is Gone with the Wind now owned by Disney? I don't know. It might actually be.
I'm not sure, yeah.
I'm not sure. But, yeah, that's that. Scenario 2. Kanzetta created a fan trailer about a biopic for DMX. It set the internet ablaze because DMX was portrayed by a popular white rapper. Do you think this is forward-thinking or just disrespectful?
Oh, wow. You went in. Oh, wow. So, as a fan of DMX, I would be disheartened to hear about something like this actually happening, because, yes, technically, a biopic is a fictional representation of someone's life, but if we're trying to be more true to the storyline, then you probably should cast a person that's reflective of who the story is about. DMX was a black man, so I understand in one light we want to have diverse casting for things, but when we're trying to demonstrate storylines that are more closely aligned with the truth of what really happened, you should probably cast in a way similar to the story being represented. So, I would say this leans more towards being disrespectful than forward thinking. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are this is absolutely disrespectful, because this is too close to comfort in terms of, like, DMX just recently passed. It's not even like it's been 50 years or something. And you're already trying to erase who he actually was as a person by this rapper who doesn't look like him. You should at least get someone who looks similar for his first biopic. I mean, it doesn't make sense to do that. It's too close in time. If you're going to do it right, you gotta at least try to get somebody who looks like him. Like, I think it takes away from who he was to just, because then, I mean, they should just show a female then too, right? It could be anybody acting as DMX. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, so I would say
to switch it out like
if someone wanted to do something like that, it shouldn't be a biopic, it should just be like a fictional story that's influenced by the life of DMX, right?
Yeah.
be saying, hey, this is a representation of his life, but then we're not
going
to cast
really
someone who had a similar background and community that DMX was a part of.
At least like in terms of looks. I mean, that's what you should be trying to cast, people that kind of look like the person.
If for biopics, if you're going to do just a fictional story, then of course
fictional, it's like whatever the looks are could change. But technically, DMX had one look that we know of, right? So that's
he was an African American,
I think it's disrespectful. It's not forward thinking. Maybe in 5,000 years it'd be okay, but right now we gotta just it's too close. Like. This incident just happened recently, so I want to go through with that one. Scenario 3. Saniqua watched a YouTube trailer for a kids movie. She thought that there were too many adult themes shown throughout it. Should she dislike the trailer to show her disapproval?
Oh, interesting. So I think we need to be honest online. We need to be authentic to how we feel. I would say if she feels that the adult themes shown were not appropriate for children, then she has the right to go on the comment section and share her thoughts and let the producers of the film and the creators of the film know that. If that also includes putting a dislike button, clicking the dislike button, then that's a part of what her authentic response is. She should just, I think it's always helpful when people explain things. And, for us, I think it's always really interesting where people will dislike a video for KJ or something like that and not put a comment. And I just think, yes, I'm biased. I'm his mother. So it's like, how could you not like anything KJ does? But nonetheless, I just think, hey, if you're going to go to the extent to dislike something, you should share your comment. Like, what exactly did you dislike about whatever you watched, instead of just kind of disliking and moving on. That way the content creators have feedback and they have an understanding of where you sit with the content.
Yeah. I mean, I'm against people just going through social media disliking stuff unless you really truly don't like what was shown or you truly disagree with the substance of the content. I don't think you should put a dislike and go and putting a comment. That's all too much to me. Unless she really so in this situation, instead of disliking, like you said, she could put a comment and just say, I thought there were too many adult themes. Yeah. And just put that in there, whatever. Put that, that's fine. So people would say, okay, so you have that point. But I don't think you should just outright dislike it. I think the dislike should be used to kind of downgrade content so that other people don't see garbage. So I don't think it should just be used so freely and fluidly like that, where people just it's a zebra. I don't like black and white stripes. I mean, I'm dislike. That's crazy to me. Just skip the video.
People have their right to their opinion.
I know they have the right. I wish they would use it kind of all right, this video said it was gonna talk about babies, but instead it's showing me trucks, and that's a dislike because it kind of misled you.
But then also put a comment, my thing. And comment too, Tell people, hey, I felt this said it was going to show me X and it showed me Y.
You can, but I'd say don't use the dislike button if the content is misleading or it's doing something that's really wrong.
Inauthentic
But I know people was I can dislike anything I want. I don't care. I'm going to dislike it. You can't stop me. But go ahead and do your thing. But to me, it's petty. You shouldn't even be putting that unless it's really hurting you. Again,
just be thorough with what you're doing, because it takes time and attention to create the content as content creators, and so it is challenging for folks when we get negative comments or we get negative things and you don't fully articulate yourself, or you're just out to just try to say something make fun of someone else. And I think that's so interesting. Just because you disagree with, I know we've definitely gotten that, where people will try to bash us as opposed to addressing the content and or make assumptions or make weird associations well, this is why this is happening because of people like you, and it's whoa
oh yeah, so people tie it back to a memory or something, and it triggers them.
It's so
I know people do get triggered, and then they got to go off and it's to this different land.
It's very unfortunate.
But it's funny because people don't do that in real life, and in real life you just ignore stuff that you don't like, right? You don't go up to it and put a red X on it or something. Say I hate this. You just see it and you keep going.
The leveling of folks, leveling for the playing field for folks.
Yeah, because people get to express how they feel. Like, look at me,
now,
I dislike that. You can see that I disliked it.
And they wield it so willingly without any regard for it and ever thinking about the other person on the other side of the screen. And yeah, you have a right to your opinion. Yeah, you have a right to be disgruntled. Yeah, you have a right to make fun of anyone you want, but should you? And are you thinking about the consequence of how that's going to make someone else feel? So, it's interesting. Wow. Looks like we are at that time again. It's coming to the end of our 264th episode of WokeNFree. Quite the episode discussing and talking about The Little Mermaid. What do folks need to do now, Khalil?
Come back next week for the new WokeNFree Wednesday episode. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for WokeNFree Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you'd like to be a guest on our show, please submit a topic and why your story needs to be in front of the WokeNFree audience for 2023 content on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That's WokenFree.com. For social media, you can always hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at WokenFree. And for all sponsorship and collaboration queries, hit us up on our Contact Us page at WokenFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do share the episode and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for WokenFree Wednesdays. Remember, WokenFree is more than a podcast, it is a way of life. Until next time.